It started quietly. No shouting, no slammed doors, no dramatic exit. Just silence, the kind of silence that settles in when two people have run out of things to pretend about. For years, fans of Sister Wives have watched Robyn Brown defend Kody, explain him, even absorb the blame for his decisions. But in the days leading up to what the crew now calls the breakdown tapes, everything began to change. The first hints came during a mid-season filming break. According to a production assistant who's worked on the series since season 14, Robyn showed up late to a scheduled confessional shoot. That had never happened before. She'd always been the punctual one, polite, professional, careful with her image. But this time, she arrived in sweats, minimal makeup, hair barely brushed, clutching a cold coffee. "Just give me 10 minutes, she said to the producer. They waited 45. When she finally sat down in the interview chair, she didn't deliver the soft-spoken diplomacy viewers were used to. She sighed, stared at the floor, and said, "I don't even know what we're doing anymore." That line never made it to air. TLC cut it. But someone on the crew leaked the transcript months later, and that single sentence became the spark that ignited an online wildfire. By the time filming resumed, Robyn was different. The mask that once protected her, the calm, composed favorite wife persona, was slipping in real time. Cameras rolled during a family planning meeting about the upcoming Christmas special. Normally, Robyn handled these scenes like a pro, nodding at Kody's speeches, offering soft ihms, keeping her tone motherly. But this time, every sentence from Kody seemed to land wrong. When he began talking about building unity again, Robyn's expression hardened. She interrupted, something she rarely did on camera. "You can't rebuild something you keep breaking, Kody," she said. The room went silent. Even the camera operator hesitated, unsure if this was scripted tension or a real-life implosion. Kody laughed it off, trying to shift tone. But Robyn didn't smile. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes filled with unshed tears, not from sympathy, but exhaustion. That raw moment, too, was trimmed for broadcast. TLC wanted to keep the narrative tight, focusing on family healing. But behind the scenes, the production notes painted a darker picture. The director wrote, "Robyn emotionally checked out. Unresponsive. Refused to film final segment." According to one crew insider, that was the moment TLC realized Robyn's image, the one that carried the show's emotional core, was fracturing. And when that image cracks, so does the brand. The producers called a meeting. They debated whether to pause filming entirely or push forward and capture whatever happens. Ultimately, they chose the latter. Because reality TV doesn't stop when people fall apart. That's when it starts getting good. And what unfolded over the next 2 weeks, both on and off camera, would become the most chaotic chapter the Sister Wives crew had ever witnessed. The next morning, production resumed like nothing had happened. Cameras, lights, scripts, everything back in motion. But people who were there said it felt off. The energy in the air was different, heavier. Even the crew, usually upbeat, kept conversations short. Everyone sensed something was building. Robyn walked in later than usual again. Her eyes were swollen, her face pale. She apologized to the crew in a voice barely above a whisper. "Rough night," she said. No one pushed for details. But the sound guys noticed she'd been crying. Her mic picked up soft sniffles between takes. That day's scene was supposed to be simple, a family gift exchange, part of the upcoming Christmas episode. TLC wanted warmth, laughter, maybe even a hug between Kody and one of the ex-wives. Instead, what they got was tension so thick it almost hummed. Janelle was the first to speak when Kody tried to make small talk. "It's nice of you to host, Kody," she said flatly. Robyn tried to smile, nodding beside him, but her hand trembled as she adjusted a napkin. Kody jumped into one of his long speeches about family, legacy, and unity. That was the breaking point. Robyn suddenly pushed her chair back, stood up, and said, "Can we stop pretending? Please? This isn't a family anymore." The room froze. Every head turned. For a moment, all you could hear was the camera whirring and the boom mic humming. Kody blinked, confused. "Robyn, what are you talking about?" She shook her head, tears spilling over now. "You keep saying we're healing. You keep talking about love and respect like they're props we can put back in place whenever the cameras roll. But nothing about this is real anymore. Nothing. A producer whispered into her earpiece, "Robyn, take a breath, we can cut." But she ignored it. "This show used to mean something," she continued, voice shaking. "Now it's just about who's right, who's wrong, and how many people you can blame before the next episode airs." Kody tried to stand, to reach for her hand, but she stepped back. "Don't. Not on camera. Don't touch me for the audience." That line never aired. TLC clipped the scene halfway through her outburst, cutting to a confessional of Kody talking about the stress of rebuilding family trust. But raw footage from that day, leaked months later, showed Robyn walking out mid-scene, microphone still attached, sobbing, "I can't do this anymore." The crew followed her to the back hallway. She sat down against the wall, mascara running, hands shaking. The sound tech turned off her mic out of respect, but one camera was still rolling. You can't hear what she said, only see her mouthing the words, "I'm tired of pretending." For the first time since joining the family, Robyn wasn't performing. She wasn't smoothing things over or playing peacemaker. She was done. Back in the main room, Kody tried to recover the moment. "She's overwhelmed," he said with a forced chuckle. "You know Robyn, she feels everything so deeply." But no one laughed. Christine looked at him with pity. Janelle looked disgusted. Mary said nothing. When Robyn finally returned an hour later, her face was red and puffy. She didn't speak. She just sat down quietly, folded her hands, and stared at the table. The crew wrapped early that day. In the post-shoot meeting, one of the producers wrote a note that summed it all up: Robyn broke. On camera. For real. But TLC wasn't going to waste that kind of raw emotion. They knew what they had. They just needed to decide how to use it. And what happened next would turn Robyn's private breakdown into public spectacle, the kind of storyline that pulls ratings through the roof, no matter who gets hurt in the process. It took less than a week for whispers of Robyn's breakdown to reach the outside world. TLC had promised the crew confidentiality, but in the entertainment industry, secrets don't stay buried, not when they're this explosive. A Reddit thread appeared first. The title read, "Crew member claims Robyn had a meltdown during filming, TLC trying to hide it." Within hours, it had thousands of comments. Fans started speculating, was the breakdown real? Was it about Kody? Was it staged for sympathy? By the next morning, the gossip channels on YouTube were all over it. Screenshots of Robyn crying and leaked behind-the-scenes footage began circulating. They weren't high quality, but they were clear enough: Robyn sitting against a wall, eyes swollen, makeup streaked, looking completely unrecognizable from the calm, polished version fans were used to. One viral clip was only 12 seconds long, but it changed everything. You could hear her voice, shaky and soft, saying, "I don't want to do this anymore." That's all it took. Within days, #Robyn Breakdown was trending across social media. Fans began posting side-by-side comparisons, clips of her calm interviews versus this unguarded moment. Some viewers sympathized, calling her a victim of Kody's emotional manipulation. Others accused her of faking it for attention. But for the first time since she joined the show, Robyn wasn't in control of the narrative. TLC's response made things worse. Instead of issuing a statement or clarifying what happened, they stayed silent. Then, almost overnight, the network announced a special extended mid-season trailer for Sister Wives, and the thumbnail was Robyn crying. The caption read, "Everything falls apart." That was all the confirmation fans needed. The meltdown was real, and TLC was going to milk it for ratings. Behind the scenes, the network was in chaos. One executive reportedly said, "We either turn this into a redemption arc or risk losing her entirely." Producers scrambled to re-edit episodes, rearranging footage to build tension around Robyn's emotional collapse. They wanted to show her fragility, her humanity, but also her guilt. Meanwhile, Kody doubled down. In his confessionals, he talked about how hard it was to carry the emotional weight of this family. He painted himself as the misunderstood patriarch, the man just trying to hold everyone together while being vilified by fans. But what viewers saw was very different. They saw a woman crumbling under years of public scrutiny, emotional exhaustion, and a crumbling marriage she could no longer defend. Christine, in her Patreon Q&A that week, was asked if she'd heard about Robyn's breakdown. Her answer was simple: "I'm not surprised." We all break eventually. That line hit fans like lightning. It confirmed what they'd long suspected, that behind every calm smile and confessional speech, this family was falling apart one breakdown at a time. Janelle went quieter than usual online. No posts, no interviews. Insiders said she didn't want to be dragged into another TLC circus. Mary, however, posted something cryptic on Instagram, a quote that read, "Sometimes silence says everything you're not ready to hear." Fans took that as a direct hit at both Kody and Robyn. The drama reached a boiling point when TLC's marketing team released a teaser titled "The Day Everything Changed." The 30-second clip ended with Robyn saying, "I'm done trying to fix what's already broken." Millions watched it in the first 24 hours. It became the show's highest-performing teaser in 3 years. And just like that, Robyn's private pain became public entertainment. TLC didn't just air the breakdown, they built an entire arc around it. But what they didn't show, what was cut from every episode and scrubbed from the network's archives, was what Robyn said after the cameras stopped rolling. Because according to multiple sources, those words, whispered off mic and off script, weren't about Kody, or even the show. They were about the lie she'd been living since the beginning. When the crew wrapped for the day, Robyn didn't go home. She stayed behind in the empty set, sitting on the worn leather couch where they filmed interviews. The production lights were dimmed now, just a single bulb flickering overhead, casting her face in half shadow. A producer, Lisa, walked in quietly, clipboard in hand. "You okay?" she asked. Robyn didn't answer right away. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, her engagement ring glinting under the dim light. Finally, she said, "Can we talk off the record?" Lisa nodded and turned off the nearby mic recorder, setting it face down on the table. What Robyn said next would never make it into any official episode. It wasn't part of a storyline. It wasn't a confessional. It was a woman unspooling the truth she'd been choking on for years. "I've been protecting him," Robyn whispered. "Not just on camera. Everywhere. With the crew, with TLC, even with the kids. I thought if I could hold it all together, we'd survive the fallout. But it's been eating me alive." Lisa didn't speak. She just let the silence stretch. Robyn took a breath that sounded more like a sob. Kody isn't the man people see on TV. He's tired, angry, and scared. But the worst part is that he thinks the world is against him, so he's made me his shield. Every time someone calls him out, he hides behind me, and I let him. Because I believed in the version of him I thought he could be. She rubbed her eyes, smearing her makeup further. I used to think love was loyalty. That if I stood by him long enough, everything would make sense. But now I see I was just keeping the lie alive. Lisa scribbled notes even though the recorder was off, producers always did. But she didn't interrupt. Robyn continued, voice trembling, "The truth is, I don't want to film anymore. I don't want to defend him. I don't even want to live like this, half loved, half blamed, always on camera trying to make something broken look whole." Lisa tried to offer comfort. "We can talk to TLC, maybe adjust your filming schedule." Robyn shook her head. "No. They won't let me leave. Not yet. They need me to keep the show going. I'm the bridge. The connection to the old story. Without me, there's no sister wives left." Her words hung heavy in the room. The weight of 12 seasons, 12 years, and countless public sacrifices condensed into one truth. Robyn felt trapped, not just in her marriage, but in the brand itself. Later, one crew member would describe that moment as haunting. He said she looked like someone realizing that freedom might cost her everything. By the time Robyn left the set that night, her confession had already spread through production. TLC executives were alerted within hours. Their decision? Double down. If Robyn wanted out, they'd make her storyline too essential to walk away from. In the weeks that followed, producers started framing scenes around Robyn's emotional journey. They began filming her solo confessionals, highlighting her vulnerability, her struggle to keep the family united. But those closest to the production knew what was really happening. TLC was turning her breakdown into a ratings strategy. Behind every soft piano note and slow zoom in, there was a woman unraveling for the world to see. And as the episodes aired, fans began to notice the shift. Robyn wasn't just the calm wife anymore. She was raw, shaky, unpredictable, and, for the first time, real. But that new authenticity came with a price. Because the more she opened up, the more the audience, and her own family, began to turn on her. When TLC aired the re-edit Robyn Breakdown episode, it was supposed to humanize her. The producers thought fans would finally sympathize with the woman they had long called the manipulator. They believed showing her crying, exhausted, and vulnerable would flip the narrative. They were wrong. Within minutes of the episode's release, social media exploded. Twitter, Reddit, and TikTok flooded with reaction clips, meme edits, and fiery debates. Some fans felt pity, but most didn't hold back. One viral tweet read, 12 years of crocodile tears and now she cries when the cameras stop loving her. Another said, that wasn't a breakdown, that was karma finally catching up. The hashtag Robyn Exposed trended for 3 days straight. YouTube commentary channels released reaction videos dissecting her every gesture, the trembling hands, the downcast eyes, the voice cracks. What was supposed to be her redemption arc became a trial by internet fire. The worst part? Kody didn't defend her. In fact, his next confessional only added fuel to the fire. He told TLC's cameras, Robyn's emotional because she feels responsible for holding this family together. But that's her choice. No one asked her to carry that. Fans were furious. No one asked her, they repeated online. You made her your emotional crutch. Meanwhile, Robyn went silent. No Instagram posts. No cameos. Nothing. The woman who once controlled the family's PR image vanished completely. Insiders later revealed that TLC temporarily pulled her from scheduled press appearances for her mental health. But those same insiders also admitted that Robyn refused to participate in several key filming days. She didn't want to face Kody or the crew. Behind closed doors, she'd become increasingly withdrawn. A source from the Flagstaff set described her as haunted. She would show up, film a few lines, then disappear into her trailer. During group scenes, she spoke softly, almost like she was trying not to be heard. But silence has power, and fans noticed. Clips of her wordless reactions went viral. A single raised eyebrow, a look away when Kody spoke, everything was analyzed. TikTok accounts began posting side-by-side edits of old Robyn versus new Robyn, showing the shift from the once confident wife to a woman visibly shrinking on screen. The public narrative had flipped again. Now, she wasn't the villain or the victim, she was the ghost of a woman trapped in her own story. Kody, meanwhile, kept talking. Every podcast interview, every confession, every camera opportunity, he took it. His sound bites grew defensive. People don't understand what it's like to be the one holding everything together. Christine fired back indirectly during one of her own live Q&As. Some people confuse control with leadership, she said, her tone calm but sharp. Fans didn't miss the reference. Janelle stayed diplomatic in public, but privately told a friend, who leaked the quote, Robyn's paying the price for Kody's pride. She's breaking for both of them. The situation reached its peak when TLC dropped the mid-season teaser titled The Fallout. It showed Robyn sitting in her car, sobbing, saying, I tried to do everything right. Why does it always end like this? That single sentence reignited the entire fandom. What did she mean? What had ended? Was she talking about Kody, the family, or the show itself? Behind the scenes, production was scrambling. They'd gotten their drama, but now they risked losing their lead. If Robyn walked, the narrative arc they'd built for 3 seasons would collapse. Executives called emergency meetings. They brainstormed ways to support her on screen, reframe her not as the manipulative wife, but the misunderstood survivor. But Robyn wasn't responding to calls. She wasn't angry. She was empty. She told us she's numb, one crew member said later. Not mad. Not sad. Just done. By the time filming resumed 2 weeks later, something fundamental had shifted in Robyn's demeanor. She wasn't crying anymore. She wasn't pleading or explaining. She was quiet. Calm. Measured. And that scared everyone more than the tears ever did. Because the last time Robyn cried, it made good television. But the moment she stopped, it meant something far bigger was coming. 2 weeks after Robyn's silence sent shockwaves through TLC's headquarters, she finally agreed to meet with the producers. The meeting wasn't scheduled on set, it took place in a private conference room inside the Flagstaff production office. The blinds were drawn, the lights dim. There were no cameras, no crew, just a handful of executives and the woman they now saw as both their greatest asset and their biggest liability. Robyn arrived wearing a gray sweater, her hair tied back, no makeup, a rare sight for someone who'd spent years polished for the lens. She didn't sit down right away. She looked at the table, the people in front of her, and said quietly, "You're not going to use me like this anymore." There was a long silence. Finally, one producer, a man named Tom, who'd been with the show since season 3, tried to calm her down. "Robyn, no one's trying to use you. We just want to tell your story truthfully." She laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Truthfully? You edited me into the villain for 5 years. Then you tried to make me the victim. You don't tell the truth, you tell what sells." The room shifted. Everyone knew she wasn't wrong. Tom leaned forward. "Look, Robyn, the audience wants to understand you. They're invested in you. They're obsessed," she shot back. "Not with me, with tearing me apart. You created that." The words hung heavy in the air. One of the executives cleared her throat. "We can reshape the narrative," she offered carefully. "You have an opportunity here. We can focus on your healing journey, your strength, my strength." Robyn interrupted, her voice rising for the first time. "Do you even know what this has done to my life? My kids can't go online without seeing people call their mother a manipulator. My husband," she stopped herself, exhaled sharply, and sank into the nearest chair. "My husband isn't even my partner anymore. He's a headline." She pressed her palms against her temples. "Every time you put a camera on him, he performs. Every time you film me, you spin it. And I play along because I think, maybe this season it'll finally make sense. Maybe this time, it'll fix something. But it never does. It just makes everything worse." The room was silent except for the soft hum of the heating vent. Tom finally said, "So what do you want, Robyn?" She looked up, her eyes red but steady. "I want out. Out of the storyline. Out of this fake version of my life. If you want to show the truth, show that I'm done." That was the moment everything shifted. The executives exchanged looks. One quietly typed something into her tablet. Leaving the show wasn't as simple as walking away. Robyn was under a multi-season contract. TLC could stop her, and everyone in the room knew it. Tom spoke gently. "We can't end your contract. Not now. You're too central to the story." Her jaw tightened. "Then the story's over." She stood, grabbed her coat, and walked out. No goodbyes. No handshake. Just the echo of the door slamming behind her. Later that night, the production team held an emergency call. They couldn't let Robyn quit, not without tanking the ratings for the next 2 seasons. So they did what reality TV always does best, they pivoted. They decided to frame her rebellion as part of the show. The upcoming trailer would tease it as Robyn's breaking point, the moment that changes everything. And with that, the woman who wanted to disappear became the centerpiece of the next chapter. But behind the scenes, something else was happening, something even TLC didn't expect. Christine and Janelle had seen the leaked episode 2, and they knew exactly what Robyn's breakdown meant. Because for the first time in years, Robyn Brown wasn't protecting Kody anymore, she was exposing him without even saying a word. The morning after Robyn's confrontation with TLC, her phone buzzed with a message she didn't expect. It was from Christine. "Hey. I saw the episode. I know what they're doing. You don't deserve that. Can we talk?" For a long moment, Robyn just stared at the screen. Her instinct was to delete it. After all, Christine was the woman who'd once called her the wedge that broke the family. But something about the tone of the message felt different. She typed back one word, "Okay." They met 2 days later in the most neutral place possible, a small cafe on the edge of Flagstaff. No cameras. No producers. Just 2 women who had spent years on opposite sides of the same collapsing empire. Christine arrived first, ordering peppermint tea. Robyn showed up in sunglasses and a ball cap, her posture tense. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Christine broke the silence. You look tired, she said softly. Robyn gave a small, humorless laugh. That's because I am. I'm tired of playing the good wife. I'm tired of defending him. And I'm tired of pretending this show is real. Christine leaned forward, her tone gentler than it had ever been. It's never been real, Robyn. It's been his version of real. That struck something deep. Robyn looked up, eyes wet. You think I don't know that? But I didn't know how to stop it. Every time I tried to step back, he'd say I was being disloyal. And TLC, they just kept filming like it was entertainment. Christine sighed. They've done it to all of us. They turned our pain into plot twists. Robyn blinked, processing that. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like the enemy, she felt understood. Then Christine said something no one expected. I'm not your enemy, Robyn. I never was. I just wanted him to be honest about what he did to us. All of us. Robyn hesitated, then nodded. He's not capable of that anymore. Their conversation stretched for nearly 2 hours. They talked about everything, the show, the kids, the fake storylines, the constant pressure to perform. Christine revealed that TLC had once offered her a villain edit in exchange for more screen time, and she'd refused. Robyn admitted that Kody often pressured her to film emotional scenes even when she didn't want to. By the end of it, something remarkable happened. Christine reached across the table. You don't have to do this alone anymore. You can walk away. They'll say whatever they want, but you'll be free. Robyn's hand trembled as she squeezed hers. And what then? I lose everything, the house, the money, the image. Kody will destroy me. Christine smiled faintly. He already did. Now you get to rebuild. That meeting became the quiet beginning of what fans would later call the sister wives' truce. But Christine wasn't the only one who reached out. A week later, Janelle texted Robyn too. Her message was blunt, in typical Janelle fashion, saw the edit. They're using you now like they used to use us. Don't let them. Robyn called her that night. For nearly an hour, they talked, not as rivals, but as survivors. Janelle didn't mince words. You think you're the only one who's cried on that couch? We all did. Just different seasons, different reasons. Robyn asked quietly, do you regret it? The show? Janelle paused. Sometimes. But it gave me the strength to see the truth. And maybe it's doing the same for you now. That sentence stayed with Robyn. Over the next month, the three women, once pitted against each other by the show's very design, began to communicate privately. Group texts at first, then phone calls. They shared stories, compared production notes, and slowly started piecing together a timeline of manipulation that stretched back years. The realization was staggering. Kody had not only used them emotionally, TLC had used them professionally. The producers had built entire seasons around their worst moments. The show wasn't documenting reality. It was manufacturing it. And suddenly, for the first time in over a decade, the sister wives had something in common again. They weren't fighting each other anymore. They were finally fighting back. Robyn, the woman once branded as the destroyer of the family, had become the bridge. What none of them knew yet was that TLC was already preparing for that story, turning their newfound alliance into the next big twist. Because the cameras were still rolling. And this time, the network didn't need to create drama. It was unfolding all by itself. The secret alliance between Robyn, Christine, and Janelle didn't stay secret for long. Nothing ever did in the Brown universe. Someone on the production crew, maybe out of loyalty to Kody, maybe just for drama, leaked word that the wives were talking again behind the scenes. Kody found out 3 days later. He was at home, sitting in his office surrounded by unopened fan mail, when one of the producers texted him, just so you're aware, the women are meeting privately. Christine and Janelle are talking with Robyn. Might want to get ahead of it. Within minutes, his phone was in his hand, his face red, his breathing shallow. He texted Robyn first, what is this I'm hearing? Are you meeting with them behind my back? No reply. He called her. Straight to voicemail. He called again. And again. By the 5th attempt, he was pacing the living room, ranting to an empty house. This is betrayal. I told her they'd use her. I told her they'd twist her words. When Robyn finally called back hours later, her voice was calm, almost too calm. Yes, I talked to them, she said. And before you say anything, it wasn't about you. It was about healing. Healing? He snapped. With people who've spent years attacking you? Attacking us? They didn't attack me, Kody, she said quietly. They understood me more than you ever did. That stopped him cold. What's that supposed to mean? It means, she said, her voice trembling but steady, that maybe I was wrong about everything. About them. About you. About this whole story we've been living for TLC. There was a pause so long it hummed with tension. Kody's tone hardened. You're letting them poison you. This is exactly what they do, they isolate me, they twist the narrative, and you fall for it. Robyn exhaled shakily. Maybe the narrative doesn't need their help, Kody. Maybe it's just true. For the first time in their marriage, she didn't sound scared of him. That's when he snapped. You want to talk about truth? Fine. The truth is, they never cared about this family. They wanted to destroy it, and now you're helping them finish the job. Or maybe, Robyn said softly, they're the only ones trying to save what's left of it. And with that, she hung up. For the next 24 hours, Kody spiraled. He called TLC executives, furious. He demanded they stop filming the other women, accusing them of coordinating a smear campaign. When that didn't work, he threatened to pull out of the next season entirely. But TLC didn't cave this time. They'd seen what the real story was now, not Kody's redemption arc, but his downfall. The following week, filming resumed, and the crew arrived at Robyn's house for what was supposed to be a holiday check-in scene. She let them in, quiet and composed. But when Kody walked through the door with cameras rolling, the tension was so thick you could feel it through the lens. He started talking before anyone even asked a question. So apparently, my wife's been holding secret meetings with my exes, he said, forcing a bitter laugh. You want to talk about betrayal? That's it right there. Robyn crossed her arms. Don't call them betrayals. Call them conversations. The first real ones this family's had in years. The air went dead silent. Even the crew stopped moving. Kody's face turned a deep shade of red. You think they care about you, Robyn? You think they'll ever accept you? They hate you. They don't hate me, Kody, she said. They pitted me. The line landed like a punch. Even the cameraman winced. Kody froze, his expression flickering between confusion and rage. Pity? You think you're the victim now? I think, she said carefully, I finally understand why everyone left. For a moment, the room was still. You could hear the faint hum of the Christmas lights in the background. Then, without a word, Kody turned to the producers. Cut the cameras. But they didn't. For once, TLC kept filming. What happened next would become one of the most raw, unedited moments in the show's entire history, one that even the network hesitated to air. Kody slammed his hand against the wall. I gave up everything for you, Robyn. I lost my family for you. Robyn's eyes filled with tears. You didn't lose them for me, Kody. You pushed them away. And you used me as your excuse. The words hit him harder than any physical blow could. That was the breaking point. He turned and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the ornaments rattled off the tree. Robyn sank into a chair, trembling, whispering almost to herself, and that's the truth they'll finally see. That single sentence would become the tagline of the episode, the truth they'll finally see. And fans? They were stunned. For the first time, the cracks weren't edited around, they were left wide open. When TLC executives first reviewed the raw footage from that confrontation, they sat in absolute silence. No dramatic music, no interviews, no narration, just the raw, unfiltered implosion of a marriage that had once been the show's moral center. One of the senior editors, who'd worked on Sister Wives since season 2, whispered, "This is real." Like, too real. But real was exactly what they needed. Ratings had dipped. Viewers were getting tired of manufactured drama. And now, in one unplanned, devastating moment, they had the kind of emotional lightning that every network dreams of catching. So they made a decision that would change everything. They aired it. Uncut. When the episode dropped, it hit like a shockwave. The title, The Truth They'll Finally See. The internet went feral. Clips of Robyn's quiet confrontation flooded social media. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag Robyn finally snaps. Hashtag the real sister wife. Hashtag Kody exposed. For years, fans had called Robyn manipulative, fake, complicit. But now, they saw something different, a woman breaking free. The moment she told Kody, "You didn't lose them for me, you pushed them away," became one of the most quoted lines in reality TV history. Within 48 hours, that single scene racked up millions of views across TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Comment sections turned into therapy groups. Some fans praised her courage. Others called it performance. But everyone was talking about it. And for TLC, that was all that mattered. The network immediately capitalized on the frenzy. They released behind-the-scenes teasers, bonus confessionals, and even a podcast episode featuring producers discussing the most emotional moment in Sister Wives history. But behind closed doors, things weren't so simple. Kody refused to film for nearly 2 weeks. He claimed the network had betrayed his trust by airing private family pain. TLC reminded him, politely, that his contract explicitly allowed them to use any footage filmed on set. His fury grew. He stopped answering producer calls, missed scheduled confessionals, and started posting cryptic Facebook rants about being ambushed. Robyn, meanwhile, did the opposite. She stayed quiet. No statements. No interviews. Just silence. That silence only fueled the public fascination. Everyone wanted to know what she'd say next. TMZ published paparazzi photos of her grocery shopping in sweats. Tabloids ran headlines like, "Robyn Brown, shattered but strong." Fan podcasts dissected every frame of her expression in that scene. Body language experts called it the moment Robyn emotionally detached. Then came the bombshell interview. 2 weeks after the episode aired, Robyn agreed to sit down for a one-on-one with TLC's in-house journalist, no other cast members, no Kody, just her. The special was titled Robyn Brown, The Untold Truth. She looked tired but composed, her voice low and deliberate. "For a long time, I thought being loyal meant being silent," she said. "I thought if I just held everything together, if I defended him, if I played the part, it would keep us safe. But it didn't. It just kept us trapped." She paused, looked off camera for a long moment, and continued, "The truth is, I'm done pretending we're okay. And maybe that's what love really looks like sometimes, admitting it's over." That line broke the internet. Fans flooded the comments with heartbreak and applause. Even her harshest critics admitted she seemed genuine. The clip went viral overnight, amassing millions of views in hours. Christine posted a simple response on Instagram, "Healing starts when honesty begins." Red Heart Janelle reposted it with a quiet nod emoji. Even Mary, who rarely engaged in online drama anymore, commented, "It's about time someone told the truth." And for the first time in Sister Wives history, all 4 women, separated by years of resentment, betrayal, and heartbreak, seemed united in one thing: freedom. But as the world applauded Robyn's transformation, TLC was already setting the stage for the next twist. Because what audiences didn't know yet was that Kody Brown wasn't done. In the weeks following the fallout, he began privately meeting with producers, demanding a new season focused entirely on his redemption. He wanted to tell his side. And TLC, sensing another ratings explosion, said yes. But what none of them could predict was that his version of redemption would ignite the biggest backlash the show had ever seen, and drag every buried secret back to the surface. When the dust finally settled from Robyn's viral interview, the Brown family was no longer a family, at least, not in the way it once was. The illusion of unity had shattered, and all that remained was raw truth laid bare for millions to see. TLC, hungry to keep the fire burning, moved fast. The next season was officially greenlit within days, but this time, the focus had shifted entirely. It was no longer about plural love or family resilience. It was about consequences. The working title leaked first, Sister Wives, The Fallout. And it centered around one question: can Kody Brown rebuild what he destroyed, or is this the end of the family legacy forever? When filming resumed, Kody's demeanor was unrecognizable. Gone was the confident patriarch who once commanded every room. In his place stood a man grasping for control, trying to spin a narrative that no longer fit. In his first solo confessional, he stared straight into the camera and said, "I'm not the villain they're painting me as. I just wanted a family that worked." But the editors didn't cut away, they held on his face for an uncomfortably long time. The silence spoke louder than his words. Meanwhile, Robyn's transformation continued off-screen. For the first time since joining the family, she declined filming multiple episodes. Instead, she spent her time with her children, away from the chaos, away from the cameras. When producers asked her to return for an emotional closure scene, she agreed on one condition: no script. No direction. Just honesty. That honesty became the heart of the new season's premiere. Sitting alone on her couch, wearing a soft gray sweater, she looked directly into the lens and spoke in a tone so calm it silenced everyone on set. "For years, I thought I had to hold this family together. I thought that was my purpose. But sometimes, holding things together only means you're keeping them from healing. I see that now." She paused, a faint smile ghosting across her lips. "If there's one thing I've learned, it's that peace doesn't come from pretending. It comes from release." The clip went viral instantly. #Robyn's Redemption trended for days. Fans flooded comment sections with praise, calling it the most real she's ever been. But not everyone was celebrating. Kody's response came through an Instagram live stream a week later. His voice was sharp, his energy manic. "They're twisting the truth. TLC wants a villain, and I guess that's me now. But Robyn's not innocent either. None of them are." The video went viral too, but not for the reasons he hoped. Fans called it unhinged, angry, desperate. The contrast between Robyn's calm and Kody's chaos was damning. The narrative had flipped completely. Suddenly, the woman once blamed for breaking the family had become the symbol of its quiet rebirth. And the man who once held all the power was unraveling under the weight of his own ego. Behind the scenes, TLC producers debated how far they could push this storyline. Was it too dark? Too real? Too final? But every test audience said the same thing: this is the season we've been waiting for. Meanwhile, Christine, Janelle, and even Mary had found new paths forward. Christine and David's wedding special became a ratings hit, Janelle launched her own lifestyle brand, and Mary quietly opened a bed and breakfast that doubled as a women's retreat. And Robyn? She disappeared for a while. No press, no posts, no cameras. Just quiet. Until one morning in early spring, she returned, not on TLC, but through a simple YouTube video titled, "Starting Over, My Truth." The video opened with soft piano music and a single line of text: "This isn't a confession. It's a beginning." Robyn appeared, sitting on her porch, sunlight flickering through the trees. Her tone was serene, grounded, real. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm not defending or blaming. I'm just done living for someone else's story. Kody and I are no longer together. There's no contract, no scandal. Just two people who lost their way." She smiled, not the rehearsed one fans had memorized, but something genuine. "For those who've followed our journey, thank you. For those who've judged, I understand. But this time, the story isn't about what broke. It's about what comes next." Within 24 hours, the video hit 5 million views. Major networks picked it up. Podcasts dissected every word. Robyn Brown, once the most hated woman on reality TV, had become its most unlikely redemption story. And Kody? He went silent. No statements, no appearances. Just vanished from public life, leaving behind whispers of financial trouble and speculation about a tell-all book that never materialized. For Sister Wives, the end was never really the end. TLC kept the cameras rolling, pivoting to follow Christine, Janelle, and Mary's new lives, now marketed as Sister Wives, the next chapter. But for Robyn, it was truly over. Her final words, spoken in that closing shot of her YouTube video, would become iconic, echoed by fans who had followed every twist and heartbreak for more than a decade. Sometimes the story you thought was about love was really about learning how to let go. As the screen faded to black, the camera caught one last image, the wind brushing through pine trees, the faint echo of children laughing somewhere in the distance. No soundtrack. No narration. Just silence. The kind of silence that only follows truth.